Hi everybody, I'm Matthew Dixon, the founder of eBay.io cryptocurrency ratings, and I'm pleased to join you today on 3.0 TV to bring the latest traders report. So we'll begin now with Solana. Solana is actually due or potentially due to have an ETF authorized, a spot ETF, probably next week. If that happens, it could spark a real rally in altcoins and obviously Solana. So I'm just taking a little closer look at Solana today. First of all, I'm going to scroll out a little bit. I think I'll go to the weekly possibly to show where we're at longer term. And it looks as though from the top here, the all-time high of $295, we had a correction down in the form of possibly a WXY down. And I think that we're looking at some kind of correction higher. So when it looks like this and it looks corrective to the upside at the moment, potentially it's a large A wave down, large B wave up, and then possibly a large C wave down. So I think that we may possibly retest the previous all-time high. That would be very typical of a correction. It would give us what's called a double top in the market for the time being, and it would then give us a potential turning point downwards. That's a possibility. Obviously, there's no certainty, but that's what I'm looking at the moment. So I'm looking now at this final move higher, which we bottomed out from the $295 all-time high. We bottomed out then at $95.86 low, and we've been moving up since then in some kind of big ABC move to the upside. So I'll go back now to the daily and show you where I'm looking at on the daily. So quite interestingly, this final movement in Solana, we're looking at a parallel channel. Now, parallel channels and channels are quite common within assets, asset pricing. They often form boundaries for price, overhead resistance, underlying support. And so far, we have this resistance level with the W wave there, the A wave there, and then the support X wave and the B wave. So potentially, for the time being, we may stay within this parallel channel. And I'm suspecting, as I said, this was the all-time high top of 295 for Solana. I'm suspecting if we get the ETF approval, we may get a rally that could take us to retest that previous all-time high. As I say, that would then be a large B wave higher, and then potentially we get a big C wave down. So I'm reasonably bullish at the moment. Right now on this daily candlestick, we have what's called a doji. So we need to wait to see how the day finishes. But at the moment, it's looking like a doji where basically we tested higher on price fail, we tested lower on price fail. Right now we're in the middle, which means it's undecided. And that actually is the sort of theme of the markets today. We'll look at some other cryptocurrencies and see that right now the market's in two ways where to go. We've got these pending ETF approvals coming up. I mean, there's Solana potentially. There's even Litecoin. There's a few others potentially in the pipeline for ETF approval. That could spark a really nice rally ahead. But at the moment, there's uncertainty. We don't know whether this is going to happen. It's just speculation. So if it does happen, it could spark a rally. If it doesn't, then markets could head further lower. So that, as I say, is Solana for me at the moment. It's looking reasonably bullish. If I were to trade this, I'd be looking at a long position potentially with a stop loss below this swing low here, below this support here, and could even have it a bit higher if you wanted, following this channel support. So my stop loss would at least be below this blue line with potentially a rally to the upside. So risk reward would be quite good. Potentially, if you called that 1 unit to the downside, we're looking at potentially 3 units to the upside. So a 3-to-1 risk reward is good. Anything above 2-to-1 risk reward for me is attractive and would prompt potentially a trade. We'll look at some other assets where I'm also looking at taking long trades as well. Bitcoin has had a nice little rally. We're above 114,000 right now. Here's Bitcoin. We had some nice, we can't see it here, but if I move that there, we'll see that there is basically some hidden bullish divergence here, which gave us the reason for the thrust up here. So it's absolutely precise where we got that bullish divergence signal, hidden bullish divergence, price moved up immediately and quite strongly. So again, for the time being, Bitcoin is looking good. Potentially, it's going to take out its all-time high reasonably soon if we get that altcoin rally. And Ethereum is also looking pretty much the same. I think we've had a really nice correction in Ethereum. Looking like from the top here, I've labeled as wave 3 in red. That's the important, the big fractal. Then I think we've got an ABC down to give us a wave 4 potentially here in red. So we could be looking for a nice rally to take us to new all-time highs again with Ethereum. So this would be possibly a wave 1 higher, looking at wave 2 down and a large 3, which is normally the extended wave and would take us towards and probably through all-time high for Ethereum. I did look at a long-term projection on Ethereum. I'm actually really, really bullish. I think crypto is in for a good bull run for the time being. So it is a good time to potentially be taking long positions with sensible stop losses to protect yourself in case things do go wrong. But right now we're looking at potentially October. For October, it's now October the 1st. So we're looking at a really good rally, I think, possibly to take us even through to Christmas. Who knows? But at least I'm looking at new all-time highs, ideally for a number of cryptos, Ethereum being one of them. XRP is also looking quite bullish. We've had basically a big push up to what I've labeled as wave 3, and you'll sort of see a theme working out here among cryptos that the previous all-time highs I've labeled as wave 3, and so we're getting some kind of wave 4. In this instance, for XRP, it's in the formation of a triangle formation. It can't go below this dashed line here, which was a previous top of wave 1, and wave 4 is not allowed to dip into the territory of wave 1, so that's the invalidation point. But at the moment, it's looking really good. Potentially wave E finished here on this support line here, finished almost precisely on that support line, and now we're moving up. Possibly wave 1, wave 2. Wave 3 would be aggressive to the upside, and it could align nicely with some ETF approvals, possibly even XRP ETF approval. So again, another one. So we're looking at potentially now Solana, XRP, Litecoin. There's lots of potentials for ETF approval. That could spark a real powerful rally and, a wave 3 within this larger wave 5 to the upside to take us to new all-time highs, possibly for XRP as well. Link has been a good one. Link is actually quite tightly correlated with Ethereum. They share a lot of commonalities, and they do seem to track the same sort of price trajectories. So I often see Link as a kind of leveraged Ethereum. So it's a kind of a sort of exaggerated Ethereum in terms of price movement. And again, we see here a wave 3 to the upside, and we're looking at some kind of ABC down. Now, I'm not sure whether the C wave is finished yet. The C wave would be in 5 waves. So 1, 2, potentially 3 here, 4 and 5. And that wave 3, by the way, was exactly 1.6 times wave 1, which is really satisfying. So it could have finished here, and we could be beginning to move up, or we may possibly have the wave 3 here. So I've got a 3 question mark, possibly 4 and 5, still 5 lower to go. That is a possibility. So the low for the C wave could be here or here. So impossible to tell for certain. So I use dollar cost averaging. I'll be buying here. In fact, I did buy around here. And if it dips lower, I'll be buying again for a further dip, because I'm reasonably confident that we should, once this C wave is finished, whether it's here or here, we should see a new high pushing up here above this local high here for Link. And Link is a very, very important token. It's used in many different, ecosystems as an oracle. So very, very important. One of the best use cases in crypto, as far as I can see. So I think Link has a great future ahead and looking bullish at the moment. As I say, we may just dip a little bit lower. Who knows? But it's just a buying opportunity, buy the dip opportunity, if you ask me. Same sort of thing with Jasmy, actually. Very popular token. Again, we're looking at a final C wave to the downside. Now, it could have finished here, or we could just have a little bit lower to go. So again, I'll be dollar cost averaging. If it dips lower, I'll buy the dip and look for a rally to take us above this local high here, possibly well above that local high. So I'm looking for bullish movement again there. So everything is looking pretty promising at the moment. Litecoin as well is in a very similar situation, looking at some kind of ABC. The C could be finished here, or again, we may just have a little bit lower to go, but it's looking really good for another good push to the upside following this ABC correction. So that, as I say, is another one for a potential ETF authorization. We'll just look probably finally at SPX, so the S&P 500. Again, looking really bullish. I have got some highs, potential high points to go. So a little bit like the cryptocurrencies, potentially higher to go. But that could be a long-term turning point, possibly for the S&P 500. So I've got wave 3 already labeled in, a bit like the others. In fact, a little bit ahead of the others, to be honest. And then we've got a wave 4 down here, and possibly pushing up in this wave 5, but still somewhat higher to go, possibly. And could even go beyond here. So I'm still bullish the S&P 500, as I'm bullish with most of cryptos. So I think we're heading into a bit of a bullish season, bit of a bull run, I hope. So any dips I see in any of the main assets, I'm looking to buy those dips. We're seeing a nice push down in oil, which is probably good for inflation. But I'm not sure how long that will endure. We may at some point push higher, but for the time being, looking as though we could push lower in oil. Lower oil prices, of course, mean the cost of doing business is much less, the cost of servicing debt, the cost of transportation. Low oil prices are probably good for business. So the fact that we're seeing a good push down in oil is probably beneficial, will lower inflation. And that's actually the one thing that's holding back cuts in interest rates. Cuts in interest rates are good again. It means the cost of servicing loans and debt is lower. So a cut in interest rates is good. Lower oil prices make that more possible because it means inflation, as I say, the cost of doing business and everything is lower. So I think lower oil prices are providing further support to a potential rally in risk assets. So we'll leave it there for today. Hope that's helpful. As I say, I'm really bullish. I hope that you can make hay while the sun shines. And if the market does shine, I hope you enjoy it. So thanks for listening and bye for now.